how good a player you are. Remember what Larry said, you can never ask them to do something that you haven't put yourself through. If you don't have the highest standards for your playing, then we don't belong up on the podium. But once you get there, don't go through this force field on the way to the podium and leave all your talents and skills as a great musician in that chair that you were sitting in. Bring them up to the podium, because you are worthy to be there. If you've studied the music, you know the music, you have it in your ear, and you have an idea what you want to do, your breath would I take here, that's the breath I take. And the last thing is, how would I want to be treated by the conductor on the podium? That's how I try to treat them. You know, I mean, if I need a scolding, it's going to happen. You know, if I need just a look like, and they can acknowledge back, that's the other thing that you can develop with your players that's really handy, is that they can, with their eyes, tell you they know what happened, rather than you stopping and sifting through, okay, where's the wrong note, or that you want to develop that with your players, that they can just look at you and say, I heard it too. I got it.
Yourself. So we're just trying to make you the best you that you can be, not us, but the best person you can be, to be up there, and that way you get up in front of a group that is different than your own, and they're going to recognize immediately, you know, in the first couple bars, you know what you're doing. And as a result, they'll respond. If they get a feeling like, oops, this is going to be a long week, then you've got a lot of work to do.
In 1982, I did a workshop that was run by CBDNA as a participant, where you're sitting with Don. And it had a huge impact on me, because Don's clarity of purpose was different than any experience I'd had up to that point. And that's been almost 30 years ago. And you know, if we all cleaned off our shelves, everything that Don has contributed to those shelves, we'd have much less stuff and much less richness. So it's really been an honor to be here with Don and continue to learn from Don. And I think, you know, why is it that we say the same things over and over? Because our experience has proved to us it's necessary. So you hear it, you see it in somebody else, then you get up there and it's like, I'm nervous and I can't change on the spot. That's part of the game. It took me, I don't know how long, to feather in all the things I learned at various conducting symposiums on the way, on the journey of personal growth. So it's not so much about getting it right or getting it wrong, but what do you take home with you and how do you process it so you don't go back to Monday's event and stay the same. And you have to have a plan. Are you going to videotape that? If you're not, when are you going to videotape? When are you going to start engaging in the process of change? And one of the things that helped me all these many years ago that I got from Don was I had been to several other workshops where people said, well, don't beat the beats. And I would go home and try that, and it didn't work. So I didn't know what to do. And one of the things that Don is great at is giving the beats as it's necessary within the shape of the piece. So I think we do a disservice in teaching one pattern fits all. And if you can look at the music you're conducting and think about, how can I shape the pattern to fit this measure, not how can I apply a pattern I already know and fit to this measure, you can really make progress quick, because it makes you make decisions, it makes you change, and it keeps everything from being the same. And if you boil down all the things we said over and over and over, it's basically you can't look the same. It's got to have contour, it's got to have contrast, it's got to engage, it's got to connect. And sometimes that means you have to give up things that make you feel good. And so as you're scrubbing away negative, that's a necessary step. Sometimes it feels like neutral, but you have to get to neutral to really be able to fill back up the process with positive. And so trust the experience that we've all been through that. Well, I can't speak for Don, but I've known these guys long enough that we've all been through that. And we've taken our lumps in these situations and gone home and had to process it. And there is really the three stages: getting rid of negative things, understanding what you've gotten rid of, and understanding that that may feel like neutral, although to the ensemble it's better, and then making positive decisions that's based on deep preparation, not routine.
One of the things for me is that conducting is musicianship. It's inseparable from musicianship. Your ability to solfege, your ability to play on the piano, your internal musicianship combined with your imagination and your musical personality is what is your conducting. What comes out with your hands, you know, will reflect what's inside. It's like a computer, garbage in, garbage out. It can only be as good as what's inside you. So as you're scrubbing away and all the things that we've tried to apply sort of on the fly on the podium, the primary step for me is solfege, playing the piano. When you learn scores, sing them, play them, engage with making the music come to life in sound, not just looking at a page or listening to a recording. Nothing passive. It has to be active to get the music has got to be inside you before the music can meet you and then come out as your music. And I think that's the part when Mike talks about what doing and then deep preparation. That's the deep preparation. It's the preparation of yourself, and then it comes out. And I would say that with all my heart and soul.
Here's some things to think about. First of all, when you rehearse, there needs to be an order in which you do things. A lot of times we are extremely wasteful. For instance, if I'm rehearsing this group and I stop and I say, clarinets, let me hear you at letter D. What's wrong with that?
You didn't tell them why.
Okay, exactly. All right. So I need to give them some sort of reason why I'm stopping. If we don't tell them why, then clarinets are simply going to do exactly what they did before because they don't have a clue why you've stopped. They think they're doing okay. You know, it might be something obvious, it might not be. But we've got to make sure that you give them why. And so we'll stop you if you're up here rehearsing and you say, you know, could I hear flutes at, you know, letter C? Why? And that should always be ringing out in your head. So, who, where, what? In other words, what is it that we're trying to fix? For instance, first clarinets, letter B. If I simply say our rhythm isn't very good, is that enough information?
No.
No. No. We need to be more specific. And give them the information that they need in order to be successful on that second time around. And that's a very common technique. I think the other one that we don't do enough is we're hesitant to get our hands dirty. I see a lot of people, younger conductors especially, who like to rehearse tutti. They'll make a comment, they'll stop, say, okay, you know, our dynamics aren't very good here. Our articulations need to be improved. Let's do it again. And then we do it again. If you can think of the ensemble as being like a pie, and you divide it up, say, into 4 quadrants. And the best way to do this is to simply take one section and rehearse it. Let's call that section A of the ensemble. You rehearse that, and do it more than once. Rarely do you fix a problem with just one swipe. You need to do it 2, 3, 4 times. You've done A, now you do B. Do the same thing, do the same process. Give them why you're doing it, how they're going to be better, and then just go through it. Then you can put A and B together. Or if there's a C, you can do C, and then you can do A and B, rehearse C, do A, B, C, B and C, A and C. In other words, there's a lot of different ways of combining these things. And I think that's very important. Don't be shy about asking what they think is going on. Why isn't this working? but be specific. You know, bassoons, why are we having trouble playing with the trombones right there? What is it that's getting in the way? And if you encourage and foster an atmosphere of give and take, don't assume that you know everything, because we don't. We need to learn and to work with our ensemble and our musicians as much as we possibly can. So constantly be seeking their opinion on things as well.
And I think one of the things Don was talking about, the uniqueness of the Fennell Workshops being the repertoire, which it is, but another thing that you get here, and particularly with the chamber players, because these are guys who are like either in or on the cusp of being professional players. Not only when you're working with them, but watch the way they play. And see if you can get inside the minds of their playing as they're doing it. Because what good players are thinking about, what they're working for, and what they're looking for conductors isn't always the same as your run-of-the-mill undergraduate, for example. And trying to get inside the mind of a great conductor as they're working with really elite-level players is one of the things that you can get out of this workshop that I think can help you elevate your game that's not easily accessible. Because you know, if you have a chance to watch a professional orchestra rehearse, it's a little bit of an arm's length experience. You can be out in the hall or whatever. But this is a chance to really see up close what's going on, hear what happens from time to time to time with different players. And I think if you can get conducting at this level is really it's more about what's in your mind and what's in their mind than it is about what you're doing with your beat pattern, and particularly in chamber music. So this is really a unique opportunity in that way. And so I just put that out there at the beginning of things, so as the weekend goes on, you could